Okay, let's record it from here. Hi, everybody. Today is the 12th of March of this rainy day in Rome.
No.
Sunny day in Milan.
Sunny day in Milan, non va bene.
No. This is not normal at all. I have to complain. It's not possible.
Chiara has just written to me and she has told me, Anto, non è iniziata, vero? Io ho detto, yes.
It is.
Avrà il file Zoom.
Giusto?
Because she's probably has she's confusing probably the Tuesday with the Friday. Let me send the Friday one. Is she writing to you?
Sì.
Yes, what does she say?
Non ho più il link, ti dico che ti lo stai mandando.
Yes, okay, just 1 second.
Sending. Friday link to you immediately. Mamma mia.
Because I don't have here, I have to open again here the WhatsApp that I've closed. Okay.
Ho detto.
Okay, I'm doing it. Okay, that's WhatsApp is going. Okay, sent. Now I'm gonna close because otherwise it's disturbing the lesson. What's on the group? Okay.
On the group?
Yes, it's on the group.
Okay.
Okay, let's go on to page 26 in our book. So now when Chiara is arriving, we are going to listen to an airline pilot, an air traffic controller that are talking on a radio program. But before we listen, here is Chiara, okay. And also, yeah, Chiara has arrived, so. Hi, Chiara. Let me.
Hi to everybody.
Hello to you.
Sorry if I'm late. I have a problem.
No problem. Just remember that we have two different links.
Yes.
One is for Tuesday and
yes,
one is for
I know, but
Friday.
I lost my first
Demo.
email.
Oh, I see. I'm going to send you back everything.
Okay,
but
thank you
please
very much.
remind me because I could even
Okay, thank you.
No problem at all. Okay, let's go into. I don't see you anymore, but do you see the page?
No.
Yeah,
not clear.
I see.
Oh,
no,
you do.
It's not clear. It is not clear. For me, it's not clear.
No, also for
now
me. So do I.
see myself.
Yes.
In the screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Because, you know, I'm doing a bit of experiment today with audio, video, and everything, but it doesn't matter. Okay, now let's try to answer to this question before getting into the listening. What weather condition are the most dangerous when you are flying on a plane, Anto?
Maybe when it is windy. Or maybe when it's windy, or when it's raining. It is dangerous. Or maybe that's when ci sono i come si chiamano, i lampi? Which is
The thunders.
the thunders. Maybe when there are the thunders. Maybe.
And lightning.
Lightning
and thunder.
It's dangerous for
So what's this a storm
airplane.
actually?
Yeah.
When there's a storm.
Stormy. When it's
Do you
stormy,
all
yeah.
agree? Okay. Anna, do you think is turbulence really dangerous?
I think so. Because there is the wind or the lampi, come abbiamo detto che si dice?
Lightning.
Lightning. Also the visibility is low.
It could be low. Yeah. And Gian Maria, what do you think? Which is more dangerous, taking off or landing?
For me, landing.
For me, landing. Oh.
For me, landing.
I think landing.
Landing, yes.
We all think landing. I personally think that taking off is even worse.
Why?
I don't know. They probably will explain us in this lesson because I'm not a technician, so I don't know actually. Okay. Chiara, are some airports more dangerous than others?
Yes, sure. For example, the airports in the small island
Yeah.
where there is the sea very nearby the pista roll.
Anybody remember it? The name? We've done last lesson, not last, a couple of lessons ago.
Yes.
Yes.
The only one that is.
I don't remember. I don't remember the name of
Just
pista.
Sharon.
Wait.
She's alone not to know it.
Roller. No, aspetta.
Non mi ricordo.
Okay, let's go.
Anyway, it's very dangerous. We have in Sicily, I don't know if this is Palermo Airport. Catania is very dangerous.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
Because they have even the Etna.
Yes.
Etna on the east and on the ovest and the sea
west,
on the west.
Western
so
east.
there could be very dangerous.
I see. Sharon, do you know what personal qualities does an air traffic controller need?
An air traffic controller need attention. I don't know.
Yeah, need of course a lot of attention and
air traffic controller.
Hi, Myla.
Hi.
Yeah, you think that is a very stressful job, Sharon? To be air traffic controller, I mean.
Okay. Yes.
For me,
yes.
Yes.
Yes,
It's the most.
It's the most stressful one. You think it's the most stressful one? Yeah.
One second.
And Gian Maria, why do you think it is important for air traffic controllers and pilots to speak English well?
Because the personal controller stay all day in our office, come si chiama, torre di controllo, tower, control tower, and look the radar and the airplane in the map and if they oddio, non stanno attenti, non mi viene il...
If they're not careful.
Be careful.
Yeah, they are playing crashed.
So, and everything is happening in English, actually.
Yeah.
There's nothing in other languages, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Myla, do you think there are more men than women working as pilots and air traffic controllers?
Maybe more men respect women. Yeah.
You think more men, and do you know why?
Because in the last years, they probably women do other things. So for example, stay at home or take care of family. So only recently, women study for do work, particular work. As
very stressful and yeah. Okay, so now we are going to listen to the program and let's see if we have answer correctly to some of these questions, because in this program we are going to listen actually the answer of all these questions. Okay, so tell me if you can listen to it properly.
2.7. With me in the studio today, I have Richard, who's a pilot, and Bryn, who's an air traffic controller, and they're going to answer some of the most frequently asked questions about flying and air travel. Hello to both of you.
Hello.
Hello.
Right, we're going to start with you, Richard. The first question is, what weather conditions are the most dangerous when flying a plane?
Probably the most dangerous weather conditions are when the wind changes direction very suddenly. This tends to happen during thunderstorms and typhoons, and it's especially dangerous during takeoff and landing. But it's quite unusual. I've been flying for 37 years now, and I've only experienced this 3 or 4 times.
What about turbulence? Is that dangerous?
It can be very bumpy and very uncomfortable, but it isn't dangerous. Even strong turbulence won't damage the plane. Pilots always try to avoid turbulence, but it can sometimes occur without any warning, which is why we always advise passengers to wear their seatbelt all the time during the flight.
Which is more dangerous, takeoff or landing?
Both takeoff and landing can be dangerous. They're the most dangerous moments of a flight. Pilots talk about the critical 8 minutes, the 3 minutes after takeoff and the 5 minutes before landing. Most accidents happen in this period. But I would say that takeoff is probably slightly more dangerous than landing. There is a critical moment just before takeoff when the plane is accelerating, but it hasn't yet reached the speed to be able to fly. If the pilot has a problem with the plane at this point, he has very little time, maybe only a second, to abort the takeoff.
Are some airports more dangerous than others?
Yes, some are, particularly airports with high mountains around them and airports in countries with older or more basic navigation equipment. For some difficult airports, like, let's say, Kathmandu, they only allow very experienced pilots to land there. And for some of these airports, pilots have to practice on a simulator first before they're given permission to land a plane there.
Thanks, Richard. Over to you, Bryn. What personal qualities do you think you need to be an air traffic controller?
I think confidence is number one. You need to be a self-confident person. You have to be sure of yourself and of the decisions you're making.
Most people imagine that being an air traffic controller is very stressful. Do you agree?
Actually, on a daily basis, the job isn't as stressful as people think. Obviously, it's true that stressful situations do arise, but when you're very busy, you just don't have time to get stressed.
Why is it important for pilots and controllers to have good, clear English?
English is the official language of air traffic control. We communicate with pilots using very specific phrases like runway, wind, cleared for takeoff, turbulence, traffic ahead, to your left, to your right, things like that. And it's true that you could just learn these specific phrases. But then, in an emergency, you don't know what language you might need. It's much less predictable, which is why it's vital for pilots and air traffic controllers to speak really good, clear English.
If I could just interrupt here. In fact, there have been several air crashes which happened because the air traffic controller misunderstood something that the pilot had said in English, or vice versa, because their pronunciation wasn't clear enough.
Yes, that's right.
Finally, people tend to think that most pilots and air traffic controllers are men. Would you say that was true?
Not in air traffic control. There are lots of women. It may not be 50-50, but there are plenty of us.
It's true about pilots, though. I mean, there are some women pilots, but it's still quite a male-dominated job, I'd say.
Why do you think that is?
People say it's because men have a better sense of direction.
Oh, very funny.
Richard, Bryn, thank you very much.
Okay. So, it was quite clear, was it?
General.
Non ho capito che
Was it quite clear? I mean, the listening.
Yes, yes.
But even because it was clear because you also you knew what was it about, and you had all the questions that they can lead you in understanding everything. Okay. So I think that you were answering correctly almost all of them, more or less. The only thing that they say about those traffic controller that we find many women, they say.
50-50.
Okay. And Sharon, that you are a young one, which job would you prefer, to work as a pilot or as an air traffic controller?
As a pilot.
As a pilot, why?
Air traffic controller need so much responsibility.
Even the pilot means a lot of responsibility.
But the pilot follow the air traffic controller.
Yes.
Instructions.
Not all, yes, but I think they are all very, very terrible things. Okay, now we have getting back to our narrative tenses, being concentrated also to the explanation of the past perfect continuous, that is one of the last tense that we are going to talk about. Anyway, now we are going to read this newspaper and we are going to choose the correct verb and even trying to understand why. Okay, so let's start with okay, starting from Antonella, Anna, Sharon, Chiara, Myla, and Gian Maria.
I have to read
you in the list. Yes, okay.
I have to read from the beginning to the
yes, you read from the beginning. Yes, and you arrive up to the one paragraph each. Wherever we arrive.
Okay. At 11:35 on January the 13th, British Airways flight BA0206 takeoff was taken off from Miami to London.
Okay. Took off or was taken off? She's disappeared.
Troppo.
Antonella disappeared. Was too much. Okay. In the midst of the ocean. Okay, Anna, let's try to take her place. So, took off or taken off? Was taken off?
For me, it took off. Took off from Miami to London.
Yes. Can you even explain why?
Because it's an action finished.
It's a single action in the past. Yes, took off. Okay. Okay, let's go on Anna with the second part, with the second sentence.
It had been flying for about 3 hours and was over the Atlantic when suddenly a voice came out of the loudspeakers. A voice came out of the loudspeakers. Okay. This is an emergency announcement. Announcement. We may shortly have to make an emergency landing on water.
Wow. Okay. So, came out, of course, especially when you got a word like suddenly, you immediately understand that it's a single action happening in the past. Okay. So that's why we are using the past tense. Okay, Sharon, go on.
Immediately, panic broke out or was breaking out. Okay. One passenger...
okay, stop it. Okay. Broke out or was breaking out?
Broke out?
Broke out, because it's just like an explosion. One moment, broke out. Okay, the panic. Okay, let's go on, Chiara.
Okay, one passenger on the flight said, my wife and I looked at each other and we feared the worst. We imagined that we were about to crash into the Atlantic. It was awful. Everybody screamed and was screaming. Everybody was screaming.
Was screaming, yes, because it was screaming. Okay. Myla.
Scusa, Antonella ha scritto cosa succede? Mi sono bloccata. What happened?
Ah, sei uscita.
È svenuta.
È svenuta, sì.
Scusa, Mayra.
No, no.
Grazie. Dovrebbe rientrare senza neanche che io gli dia l'ok, perché quando si esce si rientra,
è automatico.
rientra automatico, sì. Di solito sì, però vediamo. Tanto se sentite voi il campanello che io non lo sento, ditemelo. Ok, good, Myla.
Sto provando.
Yes, yes. Yes, I got a telephone.
30 seconds later, the cabin crew started to run up and down the aisle. Giusto? The aisle. Saying that the message...
Comunque tu cough.
Ah, è rientrata.
Ha risposto
meravigliosa.
Ok. Ah, troppo forte. Ok.
Was being played by accident and that everything was okay. Said message and be played. Questo non capisco proprio che vuol dire, per cui...
Allora, but about 30 seconds later, the cabin crew started to run up and down the aisle, saying that the message by accident and that everything was okay.
Ma non ho capito
Era il verbo?
The meaning, you mean, had been played or was being played?
Sì.
In pratica che era stato
sbagliato, era uno sbaglio.
Emesso, no? Il messaggio era stato era andato in onda,
okay.
per errore.
Okay,
perché played? Perché è come la musica, no? Quando tu dai un messaggio, you play a message, perché con il microfono attraverso, sì.
Okay.
Ok.
So the message had been played.
Had been played, yes, had been played. Ok. Gian Maria. by this time?
Allora, by this time, a lot of the passengers were in tears and tired, were trying to get their life jacket out for under their seats. By this time, a lot of passengers. We're trying.
Yes, we're trying to get the life jacket from under the seats.
Caciara.
Were in tears?
In lacrime.
Ah, ok.
Mentre erano in lacrime. Erano in lacrime. Were in tears. To be in tears vuol dire proprio essere in lacrime, no? To be in tears. Ok. Go on.
Another passenger said, the captain didn't even say anything about it until just before we started to land, and even then he didn't explain what anything about it. To land, even then he didn't explain. Had happened,
yes, because it was before the past tense that we are talking about. Something had happened before it. Okay. Sharon.
It was very traumatic. Everybody was terrified. I can't think of anything worse than being told your plane's about to crash. It had been the worst experience of my life.
Yes.
It was.
Yes. Okay. Chiara?
Later, a British Airways spokesman said a pre-recorded emergency announcement was activated by error on our flight from Miami to Heathrow. Said.
We would like to apologize.
We would like to apologize to passengers on this flight.
Bloody hell.
Mamma mia.
Now, what do you think is the difference between the two highlighted verbs? Can you explain us, Myla, these two sentences? Read them and then try to explain what is the meaning of the two.
The pilot was very experienced and had flown this route many times before. When the announcement was made, the plane had been flying for about 3 hours.
Okay, try to explain without using, without translating.
The pilot had been made many hours.
Yes.
Of fly.
Yes, of flying.
Of flying. And in the second phrases, arrive during an action. Is a verb referred to an action that si verifica, si svolge.
Yes, was happening. Yes, that was happening. Yes. And actually in the first one, the who had flown is the pilot, whilst in the second one, we're talking about the plane. Hi, welcome back, Antonella. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It was took. Yes, it was took. So I tell you, yeah. So this is very interesting because now you can do it, this exercise, as an exercise by yourself, and then you got the correction in the video that we're going to send it to you. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Good, fantastic. Okay, let's go in to learn a bit more about those narrative tenses and more over on the past perfect continuous, going to page 136.
Okay.
Grammar. Okay, listen to these examples.
2.8. 1. We arrived at the airport and checked in. 2.
We were having dinner when the plane hit some turbulence.
At 9 o'clock, most people on the plane were reading or were trying to sleep.
3. When we arrived at the airport, we suddenly realised that we'd left one of the suitcases in the taxi.
4.
We'd been flying for about 2 hours when suddenly the captain told us to fasten our seatbelts because we were flying into some very bad weather.
Okay, so number 1, we arrived at the airport and checked in. We are using the past simple. So we use the past simple to talk about consecutive actions or situation in the past. For example, main event in a story. Then we were having dinner when the plane hit some turbulence, and at 9 o'clock most people on the plane were reading or were trying to sleep. This is the past continuous that is formed by the verb to be in the past, was or were, plus the verb and ing. So when do we use it? We use it to describe a longer continuous past action or situation which was in progress when another action happened, or to describe an action or situation that was not complete at a past time. Okay, that's why it's in action. Number 3, when we arrived at the airport, we suddenly realized that we had left one of the suitcases in the taxi, and this is the past perfect that is formed by the verb have in the past, so had, and the past participle, that we use it to talk about the earlier past, things that which happened before the main events that we are trying to tell, that we are telling. And last, we'd been flying for about 2 hours when suddenly the captain told us to fasten our seatbelt because we were flying into some bad weather. This we'd been flying is the past perfect continuous, that is had been. So is now we have had been, but just remember had been as something all together, not had and then been. Had been plus the verb plus ing that we use with action verbs, not feelings verbs, remember? To talk about longer continuous actions or situation that started before the main event happened and have continued up to that point. Non-action verbs are normally not used in the past continuous or past perfect continuous. So the only thing that you should be very careful of is the difference between one and the other, because in the explanation they all seems very similar, especially when we talk about this one and this, the past perfect and the past perfect continuous. Actually, they are both situated in a previous past, but one is still, the other one is in movement, is continuous. Okay, so that's it. Past perfect, simple or continuous.
2.9.
Lena was crying because she'd been reading a very sad book.
Lena didn't want to see the film because she'd already read the book.
So here the difference is very clear, because in the past perfect continuous, we emphasize the continuation of an activity. Okay? In the past perfect simple, we just emphasize the complexion of the activity. So she'd been reading a very sad book for a continuous time, and probably she didn't finish yet. Or in that past that we are talking about, she hadn't finished it yet. Okay? And the past perfect continuous, in the past perfect simple, we have the complexion of an action that was in the past. So it's not just, I know that it could be difficult to realize when an action is continuing or not, but it's much more easier to understand when an action is completed. Okay, so instead of thinking, is this continuing or is an action, just say, ask to yourself, is this completed or not? Okay, that is much better to understand it, I think.
And in a way, it's very difficult to understand if just to realize if the situation is completed or is on the way. It's not so simple in any case.
Yes, but Antonella, the things are two. You are either or you are talking, and so you know very well what you want to mean and which verbs to use, because it's you that decide if the action was completed or not, or you're listening to somebody else speaking. So actually the situation of finding the right one is just a matter of exercise. It's not a matter of understanding and let you to be understood, because anyway, when you decide, that's fine. Other people have just to understand you. Okay, so of course, if you have to do an exam and find the right tense, it could be tricky. I agree with you. Yeah, so that's why we are trying to do and make all these kind of exercises. So here we have just, you know, the exercise A that you have underneath, just a little story with the same, exactly the same thing that we have just done now with the exercise. So we have to choose which one is correct. Let's see if here.
O sta Marifà?
Questo non l'abbiamo già fatto?
Sì.
No, sì.
Sì, io ce l'ho fatto.
Ok.
Ma
allora,
se lo rifacciamo va bene.
Allora, chi non l'ha fatto, facciamo così allora. Maila l'ha fatto, ok?
O chiudo, cioè o rifaccio?
No. Tiello, tu correggerai le tue colleghe se sbagliano, che non l'hanno fatto. Chi è che non l'ha fatto di voi?
Io.
Ok, Antonella, Sharon, naturalmente. Gianmaria?
Credo anch'io di non averlo fatto.
Anna,
io,
tu l'hai
io l'ho fatto, sì.
Allora, Anna e Maila, Chiara,
Io
tu
l'ho fatto.
neanche?
No, l'ho fatto.
Ok, Chiara, Maila e Anna correggeranno, a turno lo faranno Sharon, Gianmaria e Antonella. E voi tre dovete correggere e motivare se sbagliano. Ok? Vai, Sharon.
Okay. Meg and Liam McGrowan got a nasty surprise when they had were checking in at Heathrow Airport yesterday.
Heathrow Airport.
Heathrow Airport yesterday with their baby, Sean. When they were checking in.
Chiara, is that correct?
Yes, for me, yes.
Yes, we're checking in. Okay. Okay, Gianmaria.
Day 3 free plane tickets to Rome in competition.
In a competition.
In a competition. And their trip for months. Ok, allora. They won 3 free plane tickets to Rome.
Is that correct?
No.
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 Had
Why,
one,
Myla?
had one.
Yes, why, Myla?
Because this action happened before respect the
The main
moment
action
of
that
the
we are
story.
in the airport. So remember that the story is, because it's important, the start of a story. So the story is located in an airport where they are supposed to live to go on holiday. Okay, so everything was happening before that situation at the airport has to be, it's previously. Okay, and so that's why we use the had won, because they had won before going to the airport, of course. And then the second one,
and they were looking forward to their trip for months.
is that a completed action looking forward? Che vuol dire?
Guardando.
No, attenzione, perché è un phrasal verb. È un phrasal verb. Dicevi, Anna?
Prendersi cura.
No,
Scusa, non vedere l'ora, non vedere
non
l'ora.
vedere l'ora, esatto,
Sì,
non
sì.
vedere l'ora, per cui vuol dire che loro hanno passato un periodo che non vedevano l'ora che arrivasse questo momento. Ah, è finita questa azione di non vedere l'ora o no? Eh sì, perché stanno partendo. Per cui non è che ancora loro stanno lì e non vedono l'ora di partire, sono in partenza. È difficile questo da capire.
Perché secondo me quando finisce l'azione in realtà
Esatto,
partono,
è molto opinabile questo, però diciamo che had been looking forward for day trips for months, ma qui ti dice anche for months, no? Ti fa capire che loro per mesi sono stati a non vedere l'ora di partire. Vuol dire che questa azione è finita. Se non ci fosse stato for months, io avrei potuto opinare, beh, loro ancora sono nello stato d'animo che non vedono l'ora, ma io ho detto for months, che è accaduto per mesi questa cosa, ma adesso evidentemente non è più così. Anche se sugli stati d'animo, ripeto, tra l'altro gli stati d'animo sono quelli che non si mettono di solito con i verbi al continuous, ma e questa è un'eccezione. Been looking forward si usa, è già una sorta di continuo, perché si usa sempre così. Anche I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon. Sentite come è una costruzione piuttosto insolita, no? Non siamo abituati a avere to hearing, tra l'altro. Però tant'è, questo è. Ok, likely, Antonella, yes.
But unfortunately, they had forgotten to get a passport for their son. So Sean couldn't fly. Had forgotten.
Porello.
A me questo non capita mai. Oppure è scaduto? Con tutto che gli dici avete controllato i passaporti che non sono scaduti?
Ne vogliamo parlare?
Senti tutti questi agenti di viaggio come escono?
Bei tempi.
È il momento della polemica.
Del dolore più che della polemica.
Del dolore.
Quanti ricordi?
Esatto. Ok. Sharon, okay, luckily
they had arrived very early for their flight, so they still had time to do something about it.
Okay, had arrived, do you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's all right.
Okay, Gian Maria.
They they had run to the police station in the airport to apply for an emergency passport.
Apply for an emergency passport. Yes. They had run or they run?
They ran to the police station in the airport to apply for emergency
Yes,
passport.
yes, because it's in the moment that we are
Ok,
talking
non è
about the
successo prima.
Esattamente, questo è più chiaro. Ok. Anto?
No, io? Ah, sì.
Ah.
No, Anna deve
No, Anna
correggere.
no.
Ah, okay.
Tocca a me. Meg was going went with the shot to the photo machine while Liam was filling the form.
Ecco, falle tutte e
Meg
due
went with the Sean to the photo machine while Liam was filling in the form.
Ok, siete d'accordo?
Yes.
Ok.
Continue.
Went immediately in one action to the photo machine while, mentre, while ci descrive sempre un'azione al continuous, anche se voi potete dire anche l'azione di andare alla photo machine può essere continuativa, ma in effetti è una singola azione, vado e arrivo, è un'azione, no? Mentre invece while mi introduce comunque un continuous. Ok, Sharon?
The passport was ready in an hour, so they hurried were hurrying to the gate and had got on the plane. Was ready in an hour, so they hurried and got on the plane.
To continue, yes. Two action, single action, one after the other. So the past simple is correct. Very good. Sembra che ci siamo, eh? Ok.
Sì, è più chiaro.
Questo anche l'avevate fatto, vero?
Sì.
Mi ricordo. Chi non l'ha fatto lo può riempire e se non ha la possibilità di vedere la soluzione me lo mandi a me tranquillamente, me lo dite.
Which is the page?
È sempre page, it's always page 136.
Of
Because
the
I
upper
think
intermediate,
was a
right?
lesson that you weren't present, Antonella.
Okay.
So this is very useful for you to do it. And even for Sharon is very important, Sharon and Gian Maria. If you want to do it and then send it to me. Okay. And I can correct it to you. But just tell me this is the exercise of page 136 because otherwise I'm getting lost into the exercise jungle. Okay, let's go back to page 26 and let's enjoy a bit. Is that part? Yes, with a bit of pronunciation. Irregular.
We had already done this one.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh yes, this part, yes, we did. Not this one.
No.
Listen to an extract from a narrative. Notice which are the stressed and unstressed word. This is a matter of rhythm, so try to listen carefully. And even if you want to read it here.
Sorry. Before starting, which is the difference between the stressed and unstressed word?
So now you're going to see. You see there are some words that are bigger than others. Those is where the stress is going on. So you are stressing something when you want to let the other people know that it is more important. For example, I don't usually stress all the connectors. I don't usually stress all the connectors. When is your birthday date? When is your birthday? When is your birthday? Okay. So the stress is going on the main important thing of the sentence. Okay, let's try to watch and listen to it.
2.11.
We were on a flight to Tokyo, and we'd been flying for about 5 hours. I was reading, and my wife was watching a film, when suddenly we heard a very loud noise. It sounded as if an engine had exploded. The pilot didn't tell us what had happened until half an hour later.
So of course you understand everything because you're reading it. But think of a situation where you are just listening without reading. All the words that are in little character, actually you can hardly understand and listen them, because as they just put together because they're not important in the narration. So what is important is immediately going out. And even with now trying to listen to it again without watching at all. Okay, so if you got a book, close your book and listen to it again.
2.11.
We were on a flight to Tokyo, and we'd been flying for about 5 hours. I was reading, and my wife was watching a film, when suddenly we heard a very loud noise. It sounded as if an engine had exploded. The pilot didn't tell us what had happened until half an hour later.
Imagine now to write as a dictation these things without even reading it. If I'm doing a dictation like this, you can hardly understand the connectors. Because, for example, on a flight to Tokyo, we'd been flying for about 5 hours. I was reading and my wife was watching a film when suddenly we heard, for example here, it sounded as if and. This as if and, you can hardly hear it. It sounded as if an engine, I don't see as if an engine. I say, it sounded as if an engine has exploded. Now try to write it down without reading. So this is exactly the reason why a lot of people say, I don't understand all the words that they say. You don't have to, because they're not separate very clearly as we usually do in Italian. Even in Italian, sometimes there are some people they speak very quickly, but even though they just separate the word from one from the other because it's our language. In English, you are not doing that, and you're not expecting to listen to it. So when you are just trying to speak a good English, try to remember that you should not separate all your words, but you have to speak in a fluent way. Okay, and if you don't understand all the words that they are said, it doesn't matter. What you have to understand is what is important actually is stressed. Okay, so just be concentrated even when you are I'm just especially talking to people that are supposed to have an exam, and during the exam of a listening part, usually you have to be concentrated on what is stressed. What you have to understand, they let you understand, no problem. Don't be too much concentrated on connectors. You have to understand them, but the important thing to understand probably are in the stressed part. Okay, now trying to read it, giving the right rhythm. Who wanna do it? Chiara, you wanna try to read it the whole, given this rhythm?
I can understand. I have to read them, and then I have to.
No, just read it
Just
like
read
it is.
Okay. We were on a flight to Tokyo and we'd been flying for about 5 hours. I was reading and my wife was watching a film when suddenly we heard a very loud noise. It sounded as an engine had exploded. The pilot didn't tell us what had happened until half an hour later.
Okay.
As if an engine. Okay.
This is an exercise. You could, for example, what I'm asking you, it's something, if you want to do it, I would be glad, but if you are not going to do it, don't worry. If you can please do what Chiara just did it now by recording your voice in a message and then send it to me.
Oh my God.
Oh your God.
I don't understand what.
Devi leggere, te devi registrare e lo devi mandare, capito? Cioè, niente
Oh,
di,
santo Dio.
di più difficile.
Okay, so you try to and you send it to me.
Okay.
Don't worry what I'm going to do with this recording. Just give me time and you will see.
Tu però non devi ridere quando ti arriva il messaggio registrato. Ti
You're
prego,
not
non
with
ridere.
me? Okay, okay.
Cerca di essere
I
clemente.
swear I'm not laughing at you.
Okay.
Okay. I can't actually laugh. You know, sometimes I know that it's hard to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you are not just the people I would laugh at because you are all very good. You don't know many of my students, believe me, sometimes it's really hard not to laugh.
Which is the page of this story?
It's page 27.
27.
27?
Yes.
Okay. I try. And I send you the message recorded.
Me lo mandi pure a me, eh?
If you are very brave, if you are really, really brave, you send it in the group.
Yes.
Okay.
But you have to be really brave. So it's very useful for all of us because you can listen even to the differences. Not just in pronunciation, because it's okay. Anyone has got his own pronunciation, that's fine. But trying to be concentrated on the rhythm. Chiara was very good. I can tell you that she was really good.
Oh, thank you.
No, because you were just trying to give in. Don't be too much concentrated on single words, because you know the single words, even if you are making some mistakes, it doesn't matter. But now be concentrated on the rhythm. Now let's go on. If you can, we can start to trying to write. Okay, so trying to write, not tell an anecdote, but trying to write an anecdote. Okay, so you're going to tell an anecdote. The story can either be true or invented. If it's invented, you must try to tell it in such a convincing way that your partner thinks it's true. This is not for us, of course. Choose one of the topics below and plan what you're going to write. Use the language in the telling an anecdote box to help you. That is here. And you can write it. And ask your teacher, no, that's okay, because this is an exercise, of course, to do in a class. But we start with a story. Talk about a time when. So this is the beginning of the story. Some suggestions are, had frightened experience when you were traveling on a holiday, or got ill or had an accident while traveling, or arrived home from a trip and had a surprise. Okay. Or, yes, you decide. You tell your anecdote. So remember, when you're doing this, to set in the scene, like in a film. This happened to me when I was when. I did it because I had so set in the scene. Then all the main events. I decided to do it because so then suddenly at that moment it was happening, somebody rang at the door and so on. And then the ending that can be a happy ending or a very sad ending. In the end, eventually I felt, remember eventually, that is not eventualmente, be very careful, but means in the end. Okay?
Ok.
And write, I don't ask you for a number of words, even if at least 100 words they should be required. But I mean, it's up to you. Don't write 3 pages because I'm not gonna read them. No, it's not true because I'm gonna read them. But you won't write 3 pages, I'm sure about it. Okay. Do you know the airplane song?
No?
2.12 Song. The airplane song.
She's as sweet as a peach, but she's ice cold. She never told me she was leaving. She left on a Friday. I went out for the day and she left for the year. She never told me she was leaving. So get yourself on my aeroplane, 'cause it's been far too long since you went away. Get yourself on my aeroplane, 'cause it's been far too long since you went away. She's so extraordinary. She left last January, and that's the reason I miss you so. She's a messy creation. She hit the road, but the road hit back. Nobody told me you're an island. I will wait for a lifetime. I've been counting the days since she left one way. Nobody reaches her island. So get yourself on my aeroplane, 'cause it's been far too long since you went away. Get yourself on my aeroplane, 'cause it's been far too long since you went away. She's so extraordinary. She left last January, and that's the reason I miss you so. A chance, I want you to know I won't love you and leave you and then let you go. I need to sort myself out. Can somebody show me the way? And nobody knows the way. And nobody knows the way. And nobody knows the way. And nobody knows there's a way. And nobody knows. You gotta give me a chance and say you'll come home. I won't love you and leave you and then let you go. You're always hard on yourself, but nobody knows there's a way. And nobody knows the way. And nobody knows the way. And nobody knows the way. And nobody knows there's a way. Nobody knows the right way. Get yourself on that aeroplane, 'cause it's been far too long since you went away. Get yourself on that aeroplane, 'cause it's been far too long since you went away. Get yourself on the aeroplane, 'cause it's been far too long since you went away. Get yourself on the aeroplane. last January, and that's the reason I miss you so.
Okay, so this is the way you should listen to some songs, and I want to show you something. Songs. Okay. This is page 67. No. Okay, here. So this is the song, and this is the exercise sheet. I'm going to send it to you. So even if you don't remember, I hope you do. But if you don't, just try to. So you have to put the right words missing, and then you got the clues. So in brackets, you got some clues. Of course, I know that you remember very well January with that unusual rhyme. And then trying to answer to this question, okay? From the meaning.
Do you send us again the music, the song?
No, the song I'm not going to send it to you, but you can find it because the song appears in the 2007 album Scouting for Girls, and so you can find it. I can't send you this version because it's a non-copyright version. So, but I think that if you go on YouTube, you find it. Okay, so just have a look to the glossary. Hit the road means start the journey. Gotta, of course, is have got to or have to. And sort myself out means to solve my problems. Okay, so, and we are going to watch it again next time and to see which are your opinion. I mean, this one you can do even without writing. I mean, you can just try to understand, and then we're going to discuss it next time. So I'm going to send you this page that you don't have on your book. Okay. You don't have it. Okay. And I think that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed flying with our teacher Paula Flight.
Please fasten your seatbelt and take off.
Until, yes, keep them fastened until the plane is completely stopped. Okay. Okay. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.